If you clicked on this video, you probably suck at aiming. But don't you worry, because in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to teach you everything about aiming in, brothers, and how you can improve instantly. The last step is the most important one, so stick to the end and you'll become a pro in no time. I divided this video into 4 steps, from beginner to advanced, so even if you're a good player, there's something in this video for you too. I wish that I had this guy when starting out. It would have made my life a lot easier. The first step is to learn how to pick brawlers. Depending on the map, this might seem irrelevant for aiming. But hear me out, every brawler has its range. Some of them have more range than others. So if you have the chance to outrange your opponent, might as well do it that way. You will have a much easier matchup. In order to do this correctly though, you need to follow these steps first. Range matters in more open maps. In maps with a lot of walls, you should use a variety of brothers just to cover everything. If you play 3 snipers in sneaky fields, for example, you're gonna suffer the entire game. Second, when you manage to arrange your opponent, for example, if you pick Piper against the Penny, you should always visualize the opponent's range and then stay out of it in this match. I can see that Penny shot ends here, so I'm just gonna stay back because my shots end here. Third, if the opponents outrange you, there is a way to turn it around and outrange them. Instead, the trick is to shoot and then move back. That way, the shot is going to travel its normal distance. But until it reaches the opponent, you'll be 1 to 2 tiles back. So technically you add these. I was in your range when doing it. This is also useful when you're playing against a brawler that has similar range as yours. That way you will always have the advantage. And lastly, if you're playing against the same brawler as yours, you should try combining all of these tips to get the best out of it. Also, staying still for a few milliseconds helps you calculate the max distance of your shots, hence helping you at aiming. Plus it throws the opponent off, because they don't know in which direction you will go. Next, okay, now moving on to the second step. This is a big one, and I haven't even seen anyone don't mention it correctly, and that is to learn the opponent's pattern. The problem with other guides is that they mention this trick, but they don't explain it. What? Enough for people to implement this on their games. So let's do that, shall we? Before that, like and subscribe to instantly get better at Stars plus 1000 Dora first. You need to pre-aim every single one of your shots. Don't use auto-aim unless you're up close. I myself am a victim of auto-aiming too much, and that's one of the biggest reasons that I miss my shots. So don't do that. Instead, do this. Just move your aim stick left and right constantly. Think of this like a warm-up and a way to stay alert at the game. Second, we're going to talk about what you should look at your screen. While playing, there are 3 points on the map that you should look for. If you outrange an opponent, your main concern is hitting those shots. So looking directly at their brawler is crucial here. If the opponent outranges you though, you need to dodge some of their shots in order to push them back. When this happens, you need to look at your brawler to be able to react to more shots. And lastly, when you're trying to both dodge and shoot them down, you should look in the middle for obvious reasons. Combine these 3, depending on the situation you're in, and you'll get the best results. And third, and most importantly, learn your enemy's patterns. There are 3 basic types of movements: walking in a straight line, changing directions once in a while, and going completely nuts. Knowing how to shoot against these patterns is crucial. First pattern is the easiest one. It's how bots walk in Brawl Stars. They have an objective, for example. Get the ball and score, and they just go for it. So, if you see an enemy walking in a straight line, you know where he's headed. Anticipating their movements, can shoot where they want to go. Second pattern is harder to aim at, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes easy as well. Most people use this pattern. They still walk in a straight line, but they change directions once in a while to confuse the enemy. The thing is, this can become predictable. Just take some mental notes on when and how often they change directions. If you notice that they change direction after you shot them, for example, next time just shoot at the opposite direction. But if they change directions every 2 to 3 seconds, for example, you could wait for them to change and then shoot at them. Third pattern is the most difficult to learn. This is where the opponent is unpredictable. But the thing is, you can still predict their movements. Here's how: if the opponents are making small movements, and don't commit to either the left or the right side, shoot them in the middle once you hit a shot. Most people panic, especially if they are low on health. They forget about the random patterns, and they're just changing back to their normal ones. So now is your chance to learn their real patterns. And here, you can apply the 2 examples of patterns that I mentioned before, if they're still being unpredictable though. Don't panic yourself instead. Try to hold on to your ammo and anticipate where they will move next. All fun and games on a practice match. But now, it's time for the third step, and that is to apply these principles in real matches. In a real match, you will also have bushes and walls, which can help the opponent take cover and make it extra hard for you to hit your shots. So I'm gonna give you some general tips and tricks that work most of the time. First trick is called double shots. It's the easiest one. You basically shoot at the same direction twice. Most players change directions when you shoot, so this is a really underrated trick, as it guarantees that at least one of your shots will hit. Second trick is to shoot narrow. What I mean here is that you should aim close to walls, where the opponents were likely going to go. To take cover, for example, here's a POV. You should aim here. Here or here. Third, utilize your shots when you're low on health. If your opponents manage to get you low, they will try to push you. So, that is the time when you unload the most, or even all of your shots. While going back to heal, don't be slow here. The more time it takes for you to unload multiple shots, the more time it'll take for you to heal as well. So do this and go back to safety fourth. Move correctly when shooting. There are 3 moves that you can do. Move in the same direction you're aiming, move in the opposite direction you're aiming, or standing still and aiming. Each one can be used differently. For example, if you're shooting a narrow point on the map, as mentioned before, you should move in the opposite direction. But if you just follow the opponent's movement, on a more open map, you can either stand still or move in the same direction that you're about to shoot. And lastly, learn how to pitch. Pinching, basically, means shooting the same enemy from 2 different directions. This is really important in all maps and modes. If you see an opportunity to help out a teammate, do so that way, your team can get a kill faster and push back the opponent. Okay, we're here. This is the most important step. If you don't do this, none of the above will matter. So the 4th step is to practice and to be patient. This is a complicated video, so watch it as many times as you need to understand every single concept. If I were you, I would actually take notes as well. If I was serious about improving my aim, once you get all the concepts down though, it's time to practice. But the problem is that it takes a lot of time. That's where you should be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day, guys. So if you don't see results in the first few days, don't worry. Trust the process and you will eventually get there. I promise you now how to practice. Just play some friendly matches with a friend before or starting a gaming session. 5 to 10 minutes is usually enough. We don't want it to be more than that because it's boring. But if you're not bored and you want to improve faster, you can even practice for 20 to 30 minutes per day. Also have all these concepts on your mind before pressing the big yellow play button on your screen. Remember what you should do in each scenario, and you'll be fine. To sum up, this is a list of everything mentioned in this video. That's everything you need to stop missing and start hitting in Brawl Stars. Now it's on you. Practice, stay patient, and cook every lobby. Smash that like button. Sub to Gameplay House for more crack tips.